All right, everybody, it's that time of week. Quantum and Woody number 1. It's Get Valiant number 148. What's up?
Hey, everybody.
Hey, it's the big 148.
Yeah.
We got Woody
Pretty
here
stoked, buddy. Yeah. We have the premier Woody cosplayer with us, J-Rob. What's up, dude?
Not too much. Living my best life, Thriving.
Absolutely.
Nice.
No, we're always happy to have special guests on, and I mean, what could be better, for the premiere of a brand new Quantum and Woody series? Yeah, I don't know that we have a whole lot of other things to get into before we start talking about Quantum and Woody. Do we have much in the way of news? Hooser, you're usually our news guy.
Well, one of the things on the news today is that Get Valiant, they're giving away a pretty awesome Fool's Gold cover. So make sure you're live in that chat so you can get some Fool's Gold and you can claim it. So we need to know you're here, and then Josh's hat will shake up and it may pull up something fantastic like your name.
And Sean Hayes, you need not apply, man. If he wins, there's something wrong with the universe.
No, we can't say that. He can apply.
I only say that because he's got incredible luck with our giveaways. We love you, Sean, but man, you got like a horseshoe up your ass or something, man. You're always winning.
Something.
Hey, somebody's got to win. That's the only bummer about awesome giveaways like this is
that we don't.
It's one of those few shows where we wish nobody joined us live so we could win.
Yeah. Then I would be the one that gets the Fool's Gold.
Yes.
Yep. So I'm caught up on names, but as the episode is going along, I'll try and put something in the chat saying if you show up, let us know. Just say hi or something even, and we'll enter you in.
Yep.
I got a stack of names already.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
But news-wise, we last week we got to meet with Alejandro Arbano, who is the writer of Dr. Tomorrow. So make sure you check out last week's episode of Dr. Tomorrow with the writer that's coming out for that. And we actually got to hear the creative team of this Final Witness, because Solicits came out, and the Final Witness came out with Ray No Fox and Jeremy Hahn.
Yeah, so Ray Fox has done... he actually wrote that really, really awesome Bloodshot annual, like the main story that was like basically a Bloodshot versus Jason, and that was super badass.
He worked on the Bloodhound issue also of Salvation.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
He's got a couple credits with the Valiant.
Yeah, he's not brand new, but this will be really cool to see him writing this story. And I mean, the first thing that we heard about this book when it was very first announced and teased was that it was going to be a crime noir. So I'm really, really stoked for that. Yeah.
I think the interesting thing right away is the characterization. Like with the helmet and everything made me initially think The Visitor. Yeah, I know it's Heather Antos' kind of project. She kind of headed up, got the theme down. And yeah, and then Jeremy Hahn's art. I enjoyed The Realm. And The Beauty also looked good that he did as well. So 2 books of his that I appreciate. He's actually a really good writer. He's got a book out with Boom called The Red Mother. That's so far so good. And he does a little bit of horror element. So I was initially thinking when I saw Jeremy Hahn that it might have been Shadow Man. But I think Eric called it with The Final Witness.
Yeah, I'm only familiar with him from The Realm. I think I have the first issue of The Beauty, and that's all I've ever read of it. It's a really interesting book, but... The Realm is awesome. He's a super nice guy. He's been at Emerald City every year, so I've talked to him the last couple of years I've been. And I'm way excited for him to be in the Valiant universe just because I do like his art, and he's a really nice guy. So I feel like when you have those two kind of things add up, they add up to someone who would be perfect for working with these characters. Whoever these characters might be within this book, though, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great.
Mm-hmm.
The art that we've seen so far, like the pages that we've gotten to see. I mean, the covers themselves are awesome as well, but I think seeing the pages really tells you what the book's going to look like. And yeah, I think that those few that we've seen look really good.
So this looks to be set in San Francisco. Wasn't there another book recently that seemed like it was set in San Francisco as well? That we've recently... Does that ring anything to you guys? For some reason, I feel like
I can't remember.
Else. But
when you get as many books out a month from Valiant as we do, those six take a real big toll on my memory. So I cannot remember anything with San Francisco.
This last solicit was 7, actually. So they're coming up, That extra one's going to just cause some... You're going to be screwed.
Oh, hey, Jake Kingman in the chat said that Ray Fox also wrote the 1% one shot, which I forgot about.
Right.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I like the creative team, Ray Fox and Jeremy Hahn, so going from there. And I think in the chat they've talked about the covers. They do have some really cool looking covers, so I'm all for it.
Absolutely.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Oh, pace.
Was it time to talk about Quantum and Woody?
Well, should we talk with Jay here for a minute?
Yeah.
We got some time.
Absolutely.
Let's talk to Woody himself about how he feels about a new book coming out. How you feel, Jay, about this new book, this creative team that we got here with Christopher Hastings? I know you did some back reading, catching up on some Hastings, so...
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been a fan of Christopher Hastings for a while. I know Gwenpool, like one of my favorite comics is Howard the Duck, and Gwenpool kind of got her start in Howard the Duck.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like backstories in that. And then when she got her own series, I really latched on to Christopher Hastings' writing. And then, of course, Ryan Browne's artwork on stuff like Curse Words. It just felt like a really, really good team up for the series. And it definitely ended up being a really good team up. I enjoyed the first issue. I think just very well done all around. I don't know. It's a great creative team for it because Christopher Hastings has just the right type of like absurd humor for Quantum and Woody.
Yeah. What got you into, like, you love Quantum and Woody. I mean, you do the memes, you do obviously a bunch of cosplays, Woody. What is it about Quantum and Woody for you?
Well, I first got into Valiant because they were doing these classes at Hastings, which sadly that store is gone now. But there was a Hastings up here, and the first class was James Asmus. And all I'd really read of Valiant was the free comic book day issues. I've been getting those every year, and then he talked about Quantum and Woody and the Delinquents, and it sounded really fun to me. I went, and they didn't have any of his run, but they had the Delinquents, and I went and opened that, and the first picture I saw was the ass map, and I was just like, "That's sold. This is for me." And immediately just kind of was like, I've got to get into this. Bought that, and then Unity that day, and then the first few single issues of Quantum and Woody. And that, and just like, I've always been a really big fan of Nikola Tesla. So having that, Edison be the main villain was just like, oh yeah, screw you, Edison. Like, it was really right along the lines of how I've always felt about him. Like, yeah, you're an evil prick, Edison. You deserve to get beaten up by these kind of low-life superheroes.
Nice. Love it.
Oh.
Hey, so how many Valiant Benders have you drawn?
Oh, man. I can't even remember. I know there's been like Eternal Warrior, Bloodshot, Rye, Quantum, Woody, Archer, Armstrong, Faith, Livewire, Punk Mambo, Shadow Man.
But overall, you've probably done hundreds of just various benders, not even just Valiant ones, but just of all sorts of benders.
Yeah, I have 513 right now, and I have about like 20 that I'm trying to finish. So,
damn. How did that start up?
One day I was watching Boardwalk Empire, and the character Philip Harrow in that. I was thinking it'd be really funny to draw Bender as Philip Harrow with, instead of the half mask here that would look like Bender, have it be Fry's face. And I just thought that sounded hilarious. So I drew that and got a really good response for it. And thought, well, I'm going to try and draw 500 different characters. And then it became a very big thing during Halloween. So there's a lot of horror movie characters on every day of October, 1 to 2 each year. And just kind of became, as soon as something would come to my mind, like, Kingdom Hearts 3 just came out and the download for that came out. So I have a bunch of Kingdom Hearts Benders that I'm drawing, and a few others right now. I know, like Ryan Wynn's series Gods and Gears. I have a few Benders for that I'm drawing up. And A Sound of Thunder. I'm drawing all the members of A Sound of Thunder as Benders.
Nice. Oh, that's fun.
That's pretty awesome. So you've been cosplaying for a few years, and I'm curious, what got you started on that? Was it Howard the Duck more? Because I know you do a lot of the Howard the Duck cosplays, or was it just the chance to do Woody? Because you do pull off Woody really well.
Well, cosplay, it's always been, I have a very big theater background. And when I was really young, my family would we were at the stunt show at Elitch Gardens, like this big theme park. My mom and dad were. And so I've always been like a very big costume guy and into the big theatrics. I'm very introverted, but you put me out on stage and you can't shut me up. But cosplay, it was just it kind of started during my prom, because there was a big confusion. I didn't want to go to prom, and then a girl was like, hey, you're going to prom with me? And I was like, no. I was kind of forced into it, so I was like, I'm going to go dressed as Willy Wonka. So got the big nerd cane and dressed up as Willy Wonka to prom, and yeah, the girl was not too happy with me. Didn't really enjoy having a nice dance with creepy Johnny Depp Willy Wonka at prom.
I was hoping it was Gene Wilder. I was like, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. It was like, the thing about the newer one was just, I like the nut sorting squirrels, and they weren't in the original, but they were in the book.
Yeah.
I love both, though.
Nice.
That was kind of the first cosplay, and then the first one I built myself was a Howard the Duck, because that was the first comic I ever bought. It was just like, I'll make that my first cosplay too.
So I know, like right now, you just launched your own website, and you're doing a lot of like book reviews on there. You're doing videos on YouTube. You just did a big contest to launch your site. And I noticed that one of the things that you wanted to do with your website was that you wanted to do positivity. You wanted to talk about the good things in comics. I like that. I on our podcast, we always try to focus a lot on the positive too. There's a lot of negativity out there in comics, so it's good to see another person using their voice within the comics medium just to talk about and point out the positivity out there.
Yeah, it was just something I kind of noticed in like all of the nerdy fandoms that I'm part of. That obviously, if you like Star Wars even a little, you've noticed that there's quite a bit of craziness going on with that fandom. I grew up loving Jar Jar Binks, so I kind of understand where all the negativity and fandom comes from. Like Jar Jar Binks and Howard the Duck, and I'd tell people, hey, you want to watch Howard the Duck? And they were like, that's the worst movie ever made. But I just kind of got sick of everybody just complaining and causing rifts between fandom of people like, I like the 13th Doctor from Doctor Who. Yeah, well, I like the 8th Doctor from Doctor Who. Yeah, well, you suck. And just kind of like, well, we're both Doctor Who fans, so why are we mad at each other about this? And just kind of want to bring out that, we're all nerds. We used to be made fun of by everybody but ourselves, and when you'd find somebody that was a little bit nerdy, even if it wasn't your same interest, like if you didn't like Spider-Man, but you saw somebody in a Spider-Man shirt, you were like, I'm brothers with that guy. Yeah. We're friends. We understand each other. And now it's just kind of like, oh, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. That Spider-Man sucks. So it's just wanted to kind of get that out of there a little bit and bring back the unity that we have as nerds.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds awesome.
Yep. Get rid of the gatekeeping.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, honestly. So I'm stoked that you're doing that and taking that approach.
Heck yeah. Well, let's get into this book that we are going to talk in ridiculous spoilers. So hopefully it's New Comic Book Day Wednesday. This book came out today, so I hope you read it.
Yeah, hopefully everybody's caught up because we are going to get into this book, and I cannot wait. I know I read it a couple weeks ago and chatted a little bit about it on the show, but obviously wasn't able to go too deep into it. So I'm really excited to talk spoilers. So to start out, I'm just curious if anybody had a favorite moment from this book.
Oh man, I almost don't want to give mine away this near the end. I feel like we'll get there.
Is everybody's favorite moment going to be the same one near the end?
Okay, screw it. So my favorite end is when Woody is like, "You punched the little boy out" at the very end.
It's like, way to go! You punched out a little boy.
And he's just so heartbroken over the fact that he did it. Like, I just thought it was such a great moment in the book. But yeah, is that what everybody else's is too?
I like
that. Was definitely one of my favorites. I know the first moment that I really laughed was just that one panel of Woody punching Dr. Toilet. And just being like, "It's pronounced Toilet" as he's getting knocked out. I was just like, that's hilarious.
Oh.
Yeah. I'd have to say I like the them going through the sewer, like blowing up turds. Just the thought of that. Like, these guys are like coming from the shitter, and they're coming to save the day, smelt like shit, and rocking and rolling. I thought that was great. It had me laughing, and just all of it. And then just Quantum doing his one-handed push-ups with the goat on his back, holding a 20-pound weight in his mouth. Just a lot of it is just super, super hilarious. And then that family's banter back and forth in the very first one, talking about Boy Scouts and popcorn and cookies with Girl Scouts. That was pretty damn funny. And then just their parody of how bad they actually are, but how much of a family they seem like they were. So.
Yeah, so much awesomeness in this book. Obviously, not the least of which is the covers. I think there are a lot of really good covers, not just the gold one, but a lot of the covers look really, really good for this issue. I think the A cover is super solid and feels like Quantum and Woody.
Yeah, I agree with that. In fact, looking at the covers that we have popping up on the screen, that's the first time I've had a chance to see the Todd McFarlane Amazing Spider-Man 300 variants from here, and they look great. I mean, they did one with Ninjak, or with Ninja K, I believe it is, but they look great for these characters too.
Yeah, I like that they did all of the characters in it. I like that there's, Woody has his own, and then the Quantum with Vincent are in there, which is super awesome. So and I think Ryan Browne did those too. So cool on him for that.
Yeah.
I was really glad to see Erica Henderson come back, because I know she did some work on the James Asmus series. And so having her do, was it 2 covers for this first issue was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And then the interiors. I mean, this to me feels like a Quantum and Woody book should feel. It looks exactly like what I would want a Quantum and Woody book to look like. There's it's a classic comic book style with ridiculous stuff in it. Like, there's people getting their heads chopped off, and then their eyes are little X's, and it just I don't know. It felt really fun, but not like to the point of ridiculousness. And I think that's a really hard. It's a difficult line to walk, and I felt like the art and the writing in this book both walked that line really well.
Yeah, so going into the writing first, I haven't read a whole lot by Christopher Hastings. I do feel, though, that he really nails the whole theme of Quantum and Woody really well. He gets the characters, but I also like the fact that with this, it's not just another story of these characters being Woody the screw up. Quantum's going to fix everything. Quantum's got a plan, but he's got to wrangle his brother in. I like the fact that with this issue, it kind of flips that over a little bit. Woody's a bit in charge. He's got all the ideas. He's having these visions. And Quantum's kind of got to be like, oh, okay, I got to take his lead. But I also love the fact that he notices within all these things that are going on, like he's like, oh yeah, like Woody's right. Like he has to admit that Woody's right about things, which is awesome because we don't get that a whole lot. Like when they're in the Senate, and he's like, don't sit next to me. He's like, that's how people know Quantum and Woody. You know, they know that we're together, so don't sit next to me. And he's just like, oh, he's right. Yes. Like I like that. I like it when you can flip the script around and make it something a little bit different. It's awesome. I also like the fact that this book doesn't follow the black bar narrative that the old issues follow with just all the time.
Yeah.
I like going outside the box.
And it did do a little throwback in it when it was doing the throwback, talking about them being brothers, heroes, just slightly. And so, like, I agree with you there, 100%. I think it was one of those things that was kind of getting outplayed within the book. Like, I know it was a theme, but it doesn't have to continue going that route. And so I do like that. And, yeah. I do, like, there's so much about this I dig. And it does make you always think, because you keep seeing these things saying Woody's lying. And so, yeah.
Let's watch.
Yeah, let's watch. Exactly. And so you never know with Woody. And I do like that he's like, did you hire these guys to come to the Senate to do this so we could kind of like stage it? Which would be something Woody would kind of do. So I dig it. Yeah, I want to see what happens with Toilet. And what comes with Toilet in episode 2, issue number 2. Yeah.
I don't know how much more we can. So okay, yeah. The core of this book, the idea that Woody is now having visions. He can see the future, but then at the end, when he's saying that that's all legit, that's when we find out that he's lying. So I'm really curious, like, I don't know. I think that this was a really great issue. This is something we talked a lot about with Rye, where each issue of that book works on its own while still serving a larger story. And I felt like you could read this issue and just this issue and have gotten a really, really awesome story from it. But then, it throws in like, okay, there's something bigger going on here. Woody has something deeper happening that he's not talking about, he's not saying. And I feel like that gives us that perfect balance of there is a bigger story, but you got a fun issue with a bad guy that got defeated in this one little book. And then, of course, the classic ending of them being like, oh, we'll get our revenge.
Right. But it was funny.
It feels a lot like the old kind of television shows like X-Files, where you had kind of a Monster of the Week episode, but it still had a bit of the mythos going with it. So it's like, I don't know if we're going to see this family carry through all 4 issues, or if like different villains are going to come in per issue and then big team up of villains at the end or something along those lines. Because Christopher Hastings did say that he wanted everything to just kind of be singular, so each issue is its own story. So I'm just interested how they pull that off and if it carries as well as it did just this one issue.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think that that's something that a lot of Valiant fans are really big on continuity, but I don't want to see a book get bogged down by continuity. And I think that there was a good balance here.
Well, yeah, I mean, like it makes note of what happened in the last series. We know that they're on the run. We don't know where their significant others went, but that doesn't necessarily have to be answered right now. And if the story is not that interesting to hear, then it doesn't have to be answered for quite a while. But I do like the fact that this does kind of spring out from that previous series.
Yeah.
I really liked how the previous series kind of ended, because Quantum and Woody has always been very separate from the whole Valiant universe, other than Delinquents. So getting to see them interact with XO and then kind of like carrying off of that It's like, is he going to show up in this series? Are we going to see Bloodshot or other characters show up? Because they can definitely work on their own. But it's always kind of cool to see them cross over like they did, and XO just kind of talking with Quantum and just being like, your brother's an idiot, right? Yeah. It's still just being very kind to him and helping him get away from the government.
Yeah.
Which.
Yeah. Where would you guys rank this as far as your Quantum and Woody books that you've read? As far as first issues of a new series for Quantum and Woody, since I believe this is their 4th or 5th time running a new series for Valiant.
It depends on if you look at with the miniseries, because we had the original series from Acclaim, we had the ongoing, then we had you can look at Delinquents, we had the last series, Quantum and Woody Must Die,
Q2,
Q2. Yeah. Q2 would probably be my least favorite. I think there's some weird issues with the book, the whole series overall, and I think some of it's editorial from what I'd read from some of, blanking on the name, but someone had made comment about how there's a lot of editorial issues over that book. I don't know. This one's really good. I always like Delinquents a lot too.
Yeah.
And honestly, Kibblesmith's first issue is actually really good too. A lot of people liked it. In fact, a lot of people that don't normally like Quantum and Woody really dug that first issue. I don't think that the 5 issues overall are great, but I do think it's a good first issue because it's bizarre. I think that Quantum and Woody work really well when it's just something that no one else in their right mind would be tackling that kind of threat. If it's something really weird and bizarre, then that's what makes it work perfectly. Yeah. But it's actually, if I was to sit here right now and think about it, I think it's really hard to top that first issue of Delinquents. It's just so good. That whole series is just so good.
Yeah,
I would agree.
Yeah, Delinquents is really good. And while I didn't dislike Kibblesmith's run, I actually thought what Elliot Rahal did with the book ended up being better than Kibblesmith's run with it. And then I read the James Asmus run after it had already all come out, so I didn't really get that first issue experience. So I would say out of the books that I really did get that, picking up the first issue and reading it, this is actually probably my favorite Quantum and Woody book. I think that this is a super strong start. I remember laughing so much at the Asmus run that coming into this book, I felt like I really needed to be able to laugh at this book. And if it didn't literally make me laugh out loud, I was going to be a little bit disappointed. And, the moments in the book that we've already talked about were moments that did actually make me laugh. And, I think it's really hard to pull off a humor book. Humor doesn't always come across well, whether it's in a novel or in a comic book. And I think a lot of times it can be heavy-handed. So Quantum and Woody has a really tough job to do in order to actually come across as funny without being too much. And I think that this issue really pulled that off. So for me, it had the brotherhood, it had the mistrust, because they always they're never trusting each other completely because they don't know what the other's up to. There's all these elements of Quantum and Woody, and I thought this book nailed each and every one of them. And if we do get more of a episodic approach to this, where each issue is kind of its own story, maybe serving a larger story, and they're anywhere near as good as this, I'm gonna love this whole series.
Yeah. Now that said, though, I would say we didn't bring this one up, but as far as favorite story ever, I probably really, really, really like Valiant Sized. I thought that issue is just amazing. It's not like the first issue of a series. It's just a one shot, but that's my favorite Quantum and Woody story.
It's a good one.
Valiant Sized was great. I really wanted to try and make a Turkey Man suit.
Yeah, I really like this this one again. Just the family they're going against, super supportive of one another. You can do it. Keep going on. Come on, we're here for you. Quantum and Woody are not like that. So I love that, just parody of one another that it played. just made me laugh to kind of see that back and forth. Yeah, and just dead politicians, always fun too. Sometimes, knock on wood, don't. Yeah, I'm in trouble now. I didn't say that out loud.
Dead politicians in fiction.
And yes, thank you, Eric. That's what I was meaning. But
Yeah.
Well, and you know what? Like Quantum and Woody to me would be like the best animated series that Valiant would be able that or on Archer and Armstrong would be the best animated. The buddy duo comedy, just to give it rated R, Adult Swim, late at night, right after Futurama, rock and roll. I'm down. So that would be, and then you could have a crossover, Quantum and Woody, actually meet Bender.
I would probably die like as soon as I saw that. Nothing.
That's it. You've reached the pinnacle.
Right.
I've reached enlightenment finally.
Yes.
Oh, I think a Delinquents animated series would be the greatest. I think, and a lot of people are saying in the chat too that they want to see a new Delinquent series, and that's something that I've definitely wanted for a long time. I think that the Delinquents is one of the best Quantum and Woody stories, and it's one of the best Archer and Armstrong stories. So, yeah, I would love to see those teams team up again. But to get into like a ranking of this book, I would rank it really high. I thought it was really good. Like I said before, it kind of checked all the boxes for me. So I would say that this issue is a solid 4.5 out of 5. I think that it's a really, really good book. It looks great. The writing is awesome, solid, hilarious. And I definitely think this is something people should be picking up.
Yeah, I agree with you. I did a review for Outright Geekery on this one. I give it a 4.5. And kind of like how Eric said, like it checks all the boxes. I agree with that. First, the cover is great. I think that this cover for this book, it really shows you like what kind of stuff that they get up to, especially the A cover. Like as an example, I think the A cover for the recent Bloodshot relaunch, I didn't love it. I've made a comment about that here or there a few times, because it's just a head. But I think on this, like you just see all the silly stuff in the background, see robots and a goat and Mr. Toilette and all sorts of other things, and it just kind of speaks to you about like what kind of stuff that these guys get up to. I think the art is perfect. Ryan Browne's art just really goes with the flow of the story. Christopher Hastings' story itself is just really entertaining. I mean, for me, it was actually kind of hard to just not give it like a perfect score. But, it just wasn't like my favorite thing in the world, but it's really damn close, like as far as like Quantum and Woody stories go. So it's good. And I hope a lot of people give it a shot, just because I do know, again, that Quantum and Woody's a little bit of a hard sell with the Valiant fan base, but I just think at some point, like, you got to give it a shot if you're not into it, because especially with one that's this good. This first issue really does pack it in.
Yeah. And I'm going to be up there high, too. I enjoyed this book a lot, and I really liked it. I mean, I guess the funny part I totally forgot was Black Mamba to base, the egg is in the belly. And just, like, that was a hilarious little line.
Dude,
like,
what?
Yeah.
Black
it's
Mamba.
Like you're going a little overboard there, Quantum, and I dig it. So I would be like right at a 4.5. For first issue, I thought this was awesome, and what can we not say? Ryan Browne's art's perfect for this book, this series. It may not be the most detailed or the most realistic, but it's good for this series, and I really like it. He knows how to portray comedy really well, and he knows timing really well with his art. And Christopher Hastings, don't know much of his work, but I know that he's done some things successfully, and this first issue is one of them. So, yeah. What about you, J-Rob?
Well, I know the review I wrote for my site. I did give it 5 out of 5. I'm probably a little biased there.
No way, you really?
But it was the first one on my site that I did that. A lot of it's just, I want people to read it because it is really good. I think it is one of the better issues to get people into Quantum and Woody. With Ryan Browne's art, I love how much it fits because it's very much it's got that little bit over the top cartoony look to it, but it still fits right into the Valiant universe. Like you could see a Valiant character that doesn't fit into Quantum Woody walk on into that artwork, but it's still just like you said, with the X's over the eyes and stuff like that. It's very much something, you'd see a cartoon on Adult Swim.
Yeah.
A lot like kind of Aqua Teen Hunger Force sort of thing.
Yeah. I think that you really hit the nail on the head there. Like, you could see other characters in this book and they wouldn't feel out of place, but it still has stuff that would feel out of place in a different character's book, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Like, I cannot see this art on a Bloodshot book or Ninja Jack.
Right? But throw some Bloodsquirt in there and we're set.
Oh, yeah, yes. Get some Bloodsquirt, some Trap Job, and throw all the characters in there.
Dude, that would be kind of good. The new delinquents, Quantum and Woody with Gub Gub and Bloodsquirt.
Oh, man. Gotta get Davey in there. So one thing that was brought up in the live chat was kind of a question as far as why we wouldn't all be ranking this a 5, since we had so many positive things to say about it. And it's really hard to give things a 5 out of 5 for me. Like, there has to be something extra. Like, to me, a nearly, an essentially perfectly written book and a perfectly drawn book, that doesn't, this book doesn't have panels that I don't like. This book doesn't have things that feel out of place with the story. So it's all solid, but to me, like, for something to really get to that, to go that extra mile and get a 5 out of 5, there has to be like a certain element to the reading experience for me, is what it's come down to. And while I did enjoy this book and it did make me laugh, I didn't have that utterly immersive reading experience that I've gotten from other books in the past that I have given a 5. So it's not a knock on the book. Like somebody pointed out, a 4.5 out of 5 is like a 9 out of 10. That's a really, really high score. And I think that this book deserves a really high score. It just, for me, doesn't quite get to be a 5 out of 5. But I totally understand why it would be for J-Rob. Just because when a Bloodshot book comes out, I'm generally scoring it higher than anybody else because I'm such a gigantic Bloodshot fan. And I totally understand how this book, checking all the boxes what you would want from a Quantum and Woody book, obviously it's going to make Quantum and Woody fans really happy.
Right.
I mean, like, if I can chime in on that, like, for a minute, like, I know, like, for me, this book does all the right things that I want to see with a Quantum and Woody book. But if it, for it to have been like a 5 for me, it would have had to do things that I would never have expected out of a Quantum and Woody book. Them fighting Fatbergs is pretty damn close. That's pretty awesome, But I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, for me, I think Jake Kingman in the chat would know what I'm talking about. Like, for me, like, Life and Death of Toyo Harada, so many of those issues to me were just like mind-blowing, amazing. The way that they would look back on Harada's past, some of the stuff that would just tie up some of the loose ends within the series. Like, I just thought there was a really amazing amount of work done there. It also had a higher page count. There's a little bit more that could be done with it. And the fact that I think it had the best artists that Valiant's ever had on it, like, that have been working for the company, like, working on those issues. When you get Miko and you get Kano or
Kafu,
that's what I meant. Yeah, thank you. You get those guys. It's just like, how could you not? But I mean, for this series, like, 4.5 is pretty good. Like 4.5 is pretty close to like a 5 for us. But it's hard because when you have to like kind of like mention your answer, like why you give it to it like that. Like, this is what it is. Not everything can be a 5, We used to get criticized so much for that all the time. When it was like,
yeah,
every book was 4.75 because every book was really good, But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. At the end of the day, very, very good book, deserving of a very high score.
Right.
And yeah, I think we were all 4.5 and higher. So I think that says something about the quality of this book. And speaking of how great the book is, I think people want this book, at least a specific version of it, right?
The one with the yoga cover is
right?
pretty good.
Woody just needs to watch out. He's got Toilet right behind him on the shelf, so be careful. I don't want you getting in trouble there, J-Rob. You got the villain of the story is there. Be careful.
Bloodshot's got him held down there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ray.
Perfect.
But yeah, Quantum and Woody, little gold bands, but there's a gold foil cover. We're still thinking about giving up. And next week, we're going to be going back and doing the Visitor number 2 and Roku number 4, since last week we didn't get to do that because we got to talk to Alejandro about Dr. Tomorrow. So tune in next Wednesday, to chat about those books. Roku finished up, Visitor hit the second one, and we learned a lot about the Visitor, so yeah.
Yeah, it'll be nice to actually get to talk about those books for sure. There's kind of a lot to unpack. I'll have to go back and reread them, honestly, before we can get into them. But yeah, looking forward to talking about those. But I think everybody wants to know who's going to be taken away. And actually, here's something I want to say. The fact that we can do giveaways like this because Valiant is so awesome, and actually it's Valiant who is willing to give away this Fool's Gold book. And I just want to say thank you to them for, doing something awesome for the people who support the podcast, who support Valiant, and, who want to be part of the fandom. So I think that's awesome, and I can't thank them enough for that.
Yeah, especially since we didn't ask on this one. They offered. And normally a lot of these contests come down to me begging and be like, please give us something, man. Please, we want to do a giveaway. Can we just have some posters, or some, promotional stuff? And they were just like, we actually had a call with them about some other stuff, and which was really cool in itself. But they were just like, hey, how would you guys like to give away Fool's Gold cover? So thank you very much.
Absolutely. So where are we at? I think that...
Well, I've got all the names written down. Are we ready to do this?
I think we're ready to do this. We're going to have to mix
it's
up. It's
always hard to break so many hearts, I know that,
Right?
it's a cool thing to get. One person's going to get it. And, I wish we had something to give to everyone. I wish it was that kind of thing, but should we do it?
You know who I think's going to win the Super Bowl is a red team, just saying. So...
I think that this book is going to go to a Valiant fan. That's my prediction.
Well, okay. Should we do it then?
Let's do it.
Okay. Don't be blinded by my head.
No, they got mine here already, Josh. Don't worry.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of online giveaway stuff, so we do it the old-fashioned way. I write your name down. It goes in my hat. We pull out the winner. And the winner is...
Boom.
Jay Kingman. Jake.
Kingman.
Yes.
Nice.
That is awesome.
That is great. Make
So,
sure...
Jake, send me your info. We're Facebook friends. So send me your info. I'll get it to Valiant, and they'll get that book out to you.
But that had nothing to do with him winning, people. Just because they're...
No. It didn't have anything to do with it. It's just... I think I'm friends with most of the people in this chat.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, just making sure. No cheating there. So...
No.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's one of the great things about doing it with pieces of paper and a hat. There's not really a way to fake that.
Hey, can I just tell you who the second name would have been if I pulled it out?
Uh-oh.
Let's hear
Sean
it.
Hayes.
Come on. Boom.
Of course, he would have been second. That's so cool, though. That's so cool. And again, thanks to Valiant for giving us the opportunity to give something away. I can't get over that Sean was the second name he pulled out, but that's so awesome. I'm really excited for Jake Kingman, and hopefully that book gets to you quickly. And would be great if you go in our group, Get Valiant on Facebook, and post a picture of it when you get it.
Definitely. And, everybody for tuning in, thanks for jumping on. Please help us grow this so we can get Valiant exposed more, whatever our little bit we can do. So subscribe, share, whatever. We appreciate that.
Give it a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs down if you don't like it. Fuck, we don't care. You know, we're not rock stars.
You can put a finger
give
in
us
there as a
your
meme
feedback.
right now. I don't care.
Yeah. And also, you know, Emerald City is around the corner. We do tend to get something of the show to give away, whether it's just from golds that I collect or whatnot. So it's not the last time we'll give something away. And there's probably a lot of that kind of stuff in the future. So stay tuned.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely.
Dude, and a big thanks for Jacob, J. Rob, for joining us, the Woody cosplayer himself, clinging, giving out cling bands at Denver Comic Con like you did a year ago, maybe. So just awesome stuff you're doing for the fan base, and thank you, dude.
Oh, yes, of course. I've got some secret stuff that I placed a large order I'll be giving away at cons, so that'll be coming up soon.
Awesome.
Yep. And what's your website address for people who want to check it out?
Just jrobart.com.
And this is probably about the fifth time William Pace has asked you how the goat is. He's like obsessed with your goat with Vincent. Yeah, he's right there. He's still there. He's hanging out quietly. So, got you covered, William. So,
Awesome. Well, again, next week we are going to be back to review a couple of books. So hopefully people can join us then. And again, thanks to J-Rob. Thanks to everybody hanging out in the chat. Everybody that was chatting and participating with the show. And, of course, entering to win the Fool's Gold book. Congratulations to Jay Kingman. And, thanks, everybody. This has been an awesome episode of Get Valiant, and I can't wait to come back to do the next one. Signing off, I'm Eric Baumgard.
I'm Josh Rathbun.
I'm Hooser.
And I'm Woody, or J-Rob.
That's right.
Why can't you
Woody
be both?
It is.
So.